So Jerry, in the last video we were talking about stress and just recognizing the signs of stress and how it can be unique for everyone, that it's a normal response to events that we perceive as challenges or threats. That in fact it's our perception of the events rather than the events themselves that cause us stress. So really you reiterated the importance of recognizing that stress can affect us physically, emotionally, mentally, socially, and it can affect our behaviors. And now you're going to talk to us a little bit about how do we reduce stress? That's really the question in people's minds, isn't it?
It certainly is, because of course, and I can relate to this really well, is when stress starts building. Again, we talked about good stress and bad stress. It's a matter of the total amount of stress that we have. So we have 4 different points that we like to cover when we talk about reducing stress. Is number 1, do an inventory. There's a lot of stress that we as people, that we as farmers have, that we have absolutely no control over. Weather, commodity prices. And so to sit back and worry a lot about that really is, there's nothing we can do about that. So what I challenge people to do is to take an inventory of their stress, divide it into 2 groups. One is the stresses that you can control, and ones that are beyond our control. And try as hard as you can to take the ones that are out of your control and put them on a shelf. Mm-hmm. And then deal with the ones that you can control, because obviously when you reduce some of the stress you can control, it reduces the total amount of stress you have. So mm-hmm. So that's the first point I challenge people with. The second one is to learn to accept the things that we can't change. And of course I refer to the serenity prayer, which says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can. But the third point, very important, is wisdom to know the difference. And that's where it's so difficult sometimes to do that inventory, because we're not sure which ones we can and can't change, and we try and change all of them. The third one I refer to is exposure to stressors. And we're bombarded with technology these days, with TV, with internet. We're bombarded with news that can have very negative effects on us. And I know a woman that shared with me during the flood last year how going to work in the morning she listened to news and it was all about the flood, and at work she had to deal with flood-related issues, and at home when she'd watch news it was all about the flood. So we have to learn to not overexpose ourselves to this. So there's times when we turn the radio off, or we rather listen to music, so that we don't overexpose ourselves to that. Mm-hmm. And then the last one that we talk about is learning to say no. And again, I refer to myself. When I realize that I'm becoming overwhelmed, or there's just too much going on in my life, I recognize this just in my irritability, for example, and so I have to understand that I'm overloaded and that I have to learn to say no.
Mm-hmm. Really important points, hey? For our viewers, one of the things that I wanted to make reference to in terms of a resource is we have a booklet called Farming in Difficult Times that's available both on our website, and we have copies here in the office if anybody wants to contact us. And it has an inventory that you can fill out yourself, doesn't it?
Exactly.
It talks about those controllable and uncontrollable factors, and kind of invites you to fill it out in your own time, in the privacy of your own home, kind of where you're at in your own levels of stress and ways to reduce that. So invite anyone out there who wants to obtain a copy to get in touch with us either through our website, www.ruralsupport.ca, or they can contact us toll-free at 1-866-367-3276. So thanks, Jerry.
All right, thank you.